Today we got to talk about Ed Orgeron, and he got paid, and he should be. All that's coming up after the bumper.
Don't be cornering me. Hold up. Time. You gotta help me with that corner shit.
What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. So it's college football related, sports related. We have a good time. And today, Ed Orgeron agreed to a 6-year extension worth $42 million. That is where he should be. We're talking about a dude that was tied for 28th among FBS coaches in salary, $4 million a year. And my favorite note about this is that Ed Orgeron was making the same amount of money last year as Chad Morris. We all know that Chad Morris's Arkansas wasn't very good. We also know Ed Orgeron's LSU went 15-0, not just won a national championship, but won its first national championship as an undefeated team since 1958. And Ed Orgeron is of Louisiana. It feels like this is the thing that should happen, and I'm glad that the folks in charge at LSU did not waste any time trying to make sure that they paid Ed Orgeron like you should pay a man who won a national championship in the college football playoff era. I think that, yes, this dude should be making more than Lincoln Riley, than Jimbo Fisher, quite honestly. And, there's going to be some incentives and things that go into that. But more than that, you need to take care of Ed Orgeron because he's out recruiting right now. And I think Ed Orgeron is taking an interesting tact to January. While a lot of other coaches are both trying to recruit and hire their staff, it seems that Ed Orgeron is way more interested in making sure he secures commitments and makes sure that these coaches and the 2021, 2022, and even 2023 prospects like Arch Manning are getting his attention because I've said it, Jimmy Johnson says it, you need players, all right? You need players. Doesn't matter what scheme you run. Doesn't matter how good your defensive scheme is or your offensive scheme is. It is all a wash if you don't have players. And I like Ed Orgeron's approach to this. That said, I would be surprised to find out now, knowing that I checked with some folks, that Bo Pelini is not the next defensive coordinator at LSU. He's making $250K as the head coach at Youngstown State. All right. And we know that the last coordinator for the defense, at least for LSU, was making literally 10 times that amount. And Dave Aranda is fast trying to put together his staff. And he's secured not just Joey McGuire, but also took Jorge Munoz with him from LSU. Again, I know he wants to be out on the road recruiting, and I know that's a big deal for Aranda, but securing your staff is usually the thing that comes before securing your commitments and making sure that the next group of kids see you because you're like, hey, man, I need all the help I can get. Ed Orgeron is showing up to folks' facilities and saying, hey, coach, how many of your football players run track? Almost all of them. Good, because those are the kids that I really want to see. He's making sure that Arch Manning gets to see his face as a true freshman. That dude is coming off of being named Max Prep's National Freshman of the Year, goes into a pot of dudes that includes Nick Bosa, who won that award, Trevor Lawrence, who won that award, Jabril Peppers, who won that award, and to the chagrin of OU fans, Jace McClellan also won that award, and to the chagrin of LSU fans, and Alabama fans are grinning twice over, Dylan Moses won that award. So it is a great predictor of success, and Archie Manning's grandson, and his uncles are both Eli and Peyton, and his dad is Cooper. And many people would tell you that Cooper was the better athlete of all three of Archie Manning's kids. Ed Orgeron is one of the best recruiters in the country. His recruiting is legendary. We know at USC, he was the guy that kept Reggie Bush coming in, and Reggie Bush told me on my radio show, RJ Young Show, which airs locally in Tulsa on the Sports Animal 97.1, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., that he wasn't actually going to go to USC. But it was convinced by Ed Orgeron to come on to campus, and then he ends up not just being a Trojan, but being in the conversation for one of the best Trojans to ever do it. I think many people still have O.J. Simpson up there ahead of Reggie Bush and Matt Leinart and Carson Palmer and so forth. But, I think it's actually just John McKay, but that's also me, and he's a coach. I think that this timing is great because now you can really tell Ed, hey, look, we got you taken care of. Who's the defensive coordinator going to be? If you haven't already been having those conversations, Steve Ensminger is going to be okay as the offensive coordinator. I don't think that that's really going to be that big a deal. I think having the architect for the game plan is a much bigger deal than having somebody that can communicate the game plan and also has the respect of his players the way that Steve Ensminger did. And I think for Dave Aranda, the same thing is true. That dude was also an outstanding teacher, but Bill Busch and Corey Raymond know what they are doing. Whomever you bring in to be the defensive coordinator, I think that guy's going to have to get along with players. But the folks that don't like Bo Pelini just have forgotten how good Bo Pelini's LSU defenses were, and forgot that he put guys into the league like Glenn Dorsey and Craig Stelz, among others, and that they were sunning top 10 competition. So I have faith that whoever Ed Orgeron hires is going to be able to help LSU. It's about whether or not they're going to be able to repeat as national champs. I don't think so, but I also thought that Clemson was going to win the national championship last year. Another thing I would add about Ed Orgeron, he has been phenomenal against top 10 competition. His record is stupid, right? We're talking about 11-1 against the last 12 opponents that he's faced in top 10 competition. Hasn't lost a game since last year, and since last year. No, the year before last, because they beat Central Florida in the Fiesta Bowl. So we got to go back that far. And what he was able to do in not just bringing Joe Brady in, but allowing him to have some say in what they do, and Steve Ensminger trusting Ed Orgeron to put him in a position to still be the offensive coordinator, to get out of Dave Aranda's way. He walks into rooms and says, hey, who do we want? Who are we recruiting? And he goes and gets those kids. He has effectively become an outstanding CEO head coach. He's kind of put the dude that was Ole Miss behind him. He has. And we're coming off of not just the best season that I've ever seen in college football, but what I think is the best season in college football history. And we got Joe Burrow in the Cam Newton zone. So this makes all the sense in the world. I understand why you want to pay him. I also think that he deserved to be paid inside that top 5 range. I think the only guys that should have been making more money than Ed Orgeron presently are Dabo Swinney and Nick Saban. The rest of them, they got to go and win national championships. The last guy not to win one, not named Dabo or Nick Saban, other than Ed Orgeron, doesn't even coach in college football anymore. He's a TV guy. All of these things matter, right? That's ridiculous. Like Jimbo Fisher, I understand you're paying him for the 2013 national championship as much as to go away from Florida State where he left a dumpster fire, but we'll leave that for another day. A&M needs to start to capitalize on what they've done, because much as you want to say that Les Miles left the cupboard kind of full for Ed Orgeron, he also was on a hot seat, a tremendous hot seat for some time. People looked at Dabo Swinney when he got the head coaching job at Clemson, was like, even at a place like Clemson, we don't understand why you would do this. You could go get somebody else. Those hires have worked out. Matter of fact, we could look at the college football playoff and we see Ryan Day was hired from within, Lincoln Riley was hired from within, Dabo Swinney was hired from within, and Ed Orgeron was hired from within. So maybe take that into account when you're thinking about who your next, not just head coach is, but maybe even coordinator. I think there's a reason as to why LSU secured Corey Raymond, who was up for the A&M job. As much as I would like to see him be a defensive coordinator, apparently he ain't that guy. You come in, you bring Bo Pelini perhaps, and that 3-4 defense that he was already running to fit your scheme. What about Tyler Shelvin in the same role that Ndamukong Suh was in? I think a lot of LSU fans like the sound of that, and maybe Bo Pelini can pull that out. All right, that's it for me. Deuces.